Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, and how we're going to fix both of those things together. The content that I'm going to show you right now is a new damning report from 60 Minutes from the very lawyer who went from a gun control organization out of state, and by out of state, I mean out of country, partnered with Mexico and now is suing the gun manufacturers in the United States. The whole Mexico versus gun manufacturers, now it's Smith & Wesson for $10 billion. Yeah, he just got on 60 Minutes. Things must not be going well. And he said some things that we're going to have some fun exploring, debunking, and smoking from orbit. Everything will be linked in the description box below per usual. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on if you want that freedom from border to border and coast to coast. And thank you in advance for doing just that. And guys, this content is brought to you by Daily Wire. They have a Christmas sale that is going on just before Christmas. Check it out. There's a link in the description. I'm going to show you, and then we're going to get it. Daily Wire Plus is a streaming platform, but it's so much more than that. It's the home of some of the smartest voices in conservative media, like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Dr. Jordan Peterson. Their Christmas sale gets you 50% off. That is half off. You can even gift a membership to someone who would love this at the exact same discount. Now, one thing you absolutely have to watch is Dr. Jordan Peterson's Foundation of the West series. The fight for our rights can only happen and last if we know the foundation of those rights. You have to check out Foundations of the West, and it's only available on Daily Wire Plus. And here's the deal. If you're looking for a place that offers news, podcasts, documentaries, movies, series, and even kids' entertainment that align with your values, this is it. Plus, their Christmas sale gets you 50% off, half off. You can even gift a membership to someone who would love this at the same discount. All you have to do is click the link in my description box below or go to getdwplus.com/Langley and see why this platform is such a game changer. Put your money where your values are, and trust me, you'll be glad that you did. All right, beautiful people, patriots across this incredible nation. This is something we've been dealing with for a few years now, but it must not be going well in the Mexico lawsuit versus Smith & Wesson by the guy who is bringing the lawsuit. His name is Jonathan Lowy. He is a villain. He's an anti-2A villain. Everytown from Gun Safety, quit, goes and forms a global action on gun violence, which is a new LLC or a new organization. Then he partners with the Mexican government to take away our gun rights to circumvent the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, which is the PLCAA, the thing that stymies and frustrates gun controllers across the nation and has since the 90s, or 2000s rather, 2000s. What we're dealing with right now, guys, is a villain trying to destroy your gun rights through using a multinational organization, a criminal organization, as the impetus to use Mexico as a patsy to get rid of your gun rights through the lawfare system. All right, check this out, and then we're going to destroy it from orbit.
How can you say manufacturers are responsible for anything when there's so many steps in the process between the time that they make it and it goes to the retailer and then maybe it's sold to somebody else or resold? How can you trace it back and say it's the manufacturers?
When manufacturers make the decision, we're going to sell guns through dealers no matter what their record is, no matter how many crime guns they're selling. That's on them.
You say they know that the guns are going to the gun stores that are bad actors. How do they know?
Well, manufacturers and dealers and distributors all get trace data. That is, when law enforcement recovers a gun in crime, they determine its commercial history, and every seller and every point of the chain knows that that's a gun that they sold that was recovered in crime.
All right. So that's the first segment, and we got a big second segment here as well. So stay tuned for this whole thing because we're about to destroy it from orbit. This guy, the guy leading the lawsuit for Mexico to sue our constitutional rights in the United States court system, which is now going before the Supreme Court, the grand finale, the whole ball of wax, he's saying that manufacturers know which gun dealers do what, and that's why they sell to them. The only one problem is they slipped up. It's distributors. The gun manufacturers sell to distributors, and distributors sell to gun shops. And the program that they're talking about, again, the lawsuit's against the manufacturers, not the distributors. This is purely about destroying your gun rights through the lawfare system. This is not about the problem, because it's a fictitious problem. But let me show you. I'm going to show you something we've covered prior. This might be a reminder to some of you guys. Let me know in the comments field. Listen to this. Among the more than 1,300 outlets targeted in 2023 by the ATF, many are top or the largest sellers are top retail shops: Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Rural King, and Sportsman's Warehouse. Now, why is that important? Because what the program that you're talking about here, and that he's trying to obfuscate the truth, let me get down to the bottom point here. The ATF representatives are quick to note that being on their Demand 2 list itself is not an indication of wrongdoing. They're talking about the Demand 2, okay? That's what this whole thing is about. The lawyer, this guy, is coming forward and saying that the manufacturers know which list or which places are on these lists, which is the Demand 2, and that's the problem, and that's why $10 billion lawsuits are justified from Mexico, because they're funding the cartels. This is so paper thin. Anyway, let's continue. Shops and pawn dealers in the program represent around 3% of the roughly 80,000 licensees worldwide. That's 2,500. Now, how do you get on this list? And again, this is what the entire $10 billion lawsuit, which I'm sure he's going to get a big chunk of, is built on. The criteria for being included on the list is relatively simple. At least 25 guns traced to a crime over a year that were purchased within the past 3 years. It's known as the time to crime. So, all these big box retailers, when they sell thousands and thousands of guns a week through the NICS background check system and the entire system that's already built in place for gun control, they're saying that that's funding the cartel groups in the Mexican country. The country of Mexico. The organization that is breaking the law already by being fully funded by illegal activities is circumventing gun laws because largest manufacturers are selling guns that are being found in crime, just sheer quantity, 25 guns in a year. You sell thousands of guns in a year as a national organization. That's not hard to get on that list. That's the whole point. But this guy's not going to tell you that. He's going to say the manufacturers know everything about it. Let's continue, because this case is going to get destroyed. Let's keep going.
If Mexico's lawsuit is successful, it could open the door for more lawsuits, foreign and domestic, against the gun industry. Earlier this year, gun manufacturers successfully petitioned the Supreme Court to review the case. They argued they could face years of costly litigation by another country that's trying to bully the industry into adopting a host of gun control measures. 3 years.
Okay, that's the whole point. This entire thing is a way to circumvent the PLCAA and a way to get gun control through the lawfare system. They did the same thing against President Trump. They do the exact same thing against parents when they rise up and say, like, this is not okay to have these books in our schools. All the thing, it's all about, well, it's a circumvention of the law. That's the entire thing. It's circumventing existing law to take your gun rights because they can't get consensus to get it. All right, now, let me dive into this. By the way, it's all about destroying the manufacturers, which is what the whole point of that was. This is the impetus right here. You tell me when a bunch of handguns that were found in crimes in the United States correlate to this.
After the deadly battle that ended with his release, fentanyl drug lord Ovidio Guzman Lopez was finally recaptured in Sinaloa in 2023. His arrest sparked another gunfight that left 10 soldiers dead. The violence continues today. In the last 4 months, cartel infighting has killed more than 500 people in Sinaloa. According to documents obtained by 60 Minutes, 47 guns were seized after Guzman's capture, including an AK-47 style rifle traced back to one of the defendants in Mexico's lawsuit, Ammo AZ.
All right, so here's a hypothetical question. 47 guns were seized in a rolling gun battle with Mexican authorities over a drug cartel kingpin, which is all criminal activity. That's the United States' fault because one of those guns was bought in the United States at some point. There was still a background check system because that's a national FFL. So what's up? This entire thing is so incredibly paper thin, they are grasping at straws. You are winning. In fact, let me show you and let's look at together what's happening in Mexico when you go to buy a gun, because the imagery here is stark. Check this out.
Like the U.S., Mexico's constitution grants citizens the right to bear arms. But unlike the U.S., that right comes with a long list of restrictions.
It's not a right in Mexico, it's a privilege. Anyway.
There's only one gun store in Mexico, in the middle of a heavily guarded military base in Mexico City. We were allowed in. But before customers can enter, they have to show proof they've passed psychological tests.
Okay, I want to back this up a little bit and just show you this. Okay, right here. This imagery is insanely important. So, 60 Minutes and Jonathan Lowy and the gun control groups and Evertown for Gun Safety and Giffords.org are going down this road that in Mexico, the very problem of the whole point of this lawsuit is that illegal activities and illegal organizations are causing havoc with firearms, which they can't have legally. They're already criminals and cartels because they can't produce and sell drugs, and they can't export drugs. So all these things, they're already against the law and they're already there. But don't worry, guys. All those things are prevented by the gun control laws that are in Mexico with the guns that are state-owned, with one gun shop in the entire country on a military base. The level of stupid that this is. But anyway, this is the imagery. This is what they want. All the rights are behind that metal fence. You have to put papers through a little slot. You have to do extreme loophole jump or jump through hoops. You have to do all these things to get your right, to access your rights, to get on the other side of that metal fence. You have to do these things because the government says what you have to do. It's not a right in Mexico. This is a privilege. That's the whole point. It's completely state mandated. It's completely state controlled on a military base, and you have to walk in with all the paperwork, sliding it underneath a metal frame before you get access to your rights. The imagery here is pretty damning. How about some more imagery? Check this out.
Logical tests, drug screens, and extensive background checks. The store sells about 1,000 guns a month, mostly shotguns, small caliber rifles, and handguns. What civilians can't buy here are the weapons the cartel favors. Those are not legally sold anywhere in Mexico.
Cartel's favorite weapons.
All right, whatever. Does that look like what we're selling in the United States on a range day, like a day-to-day basis? Do you think that's what we're doing? Belt feds, full autos, 50 cals. Yeah, like we have an NFA in the United States, National Firearms Act, which prevents you from manufacturing new. Well, actually, that one doesn't. You can't have machine guns without extreme tax stamps. You can't produce new ones because of a later legislation that says you can't. So this whole myth of we're producing all these full auto machine guns and weapons of war, as they like to say, and we're funding the cartels with all of our guns, it's crap. They're making these things themselves. And does that right there look like things you're buying in the United States and they're smuggling across the border? Nah. Anyway, that's the entire point, guys. As we get into this, the gun controllers are losing. They're getting desperate. They're having to use foreign governments to come in and try to infringe our rights through the lawfare system because the legislative is not working and the SCOTUS is backhanding them. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.